Hey, everybody.
Hey guys. Oh my god, I'm so awkward even like not in a video. Like this is just talking and I feel like still mad awkward.
It's
Okay.
good. It's good. So, first we'd like to introduce ourselves. I go by the name Ian, and my YouTube channel is Young, Blunt, and Misguided.
And I go by Dami, also known as Dami Lola. And my YouTube name is Dear Dami. My Instagram, DamLove1053. Check it out. Check it out. Still under construction, but it's coming. Things are coming soon.
We working. I just forgot my Instagram name. Let me look that bad boy up. It's underscore ybm dot unruly dot mess underscore. In my description, you would also see a link to my channel and then my blog, which is ybmunrulymess.weebly.com.
Okay, so today we're gonna be talking about, just some recent, social
Recent events.
recent what is it? Current events. We're gonna be talking about some current events today. Um, so first we're gonna be talking about the whole Kanye situation and his interviews with Jimmy Kimmel.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many like mixed, I guess, views on like what happened. But I think my view is that, Kanye West is a coon. Just straight up coon. Like, there's no way around it. I mean, do I think he's been this way his whole, like, music career? Um, for the most part, yes. But I feel like this did, um, come from a place after his mom died and after, he's became like moving into groups with like more white people and less black people to kind of like correct him and when he does make mistakes.
Mm-hmm. With me, I'm not gonna lie, like when I was younger, Kanye West was that guy for me. Like he was that guy. Like so I don't know if I would necessarily say that this was like seen throughout majority of his career, because I think that's why people also have difficulty with his comments, because it seems like so contradictory to how he was when he first came out. Like it seems like he's trying to present himself differently. Um, I think like because he was that guy to me, like when he used to perform with Common and when he used to like do his thing with Mos Def and all of that, like it just makes it seem like there's something internally going. Like I don't know if he really believes what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like in his head, like based off of what happened in the interview, it seemed like he's not necessarily saying that like people chose to be slaves, but I guess he's trying to say that the slave mentality that he thinks people have is something that they're choosing to continuously have,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. I definitely think he has some issues going on, like especially with him just co-signing with Trump.
Like, yeah, you see, there's that one. Like, I feel like I agree with him when he said in the interview, like, people do expect black people to be a monolith. They expect you all to be Democrat and things like that, and they don't want you to be Republican. I agree with that. Like, that does happen. But Donald Trump is just a whole
you
level.
went far left.
You
wait,
went
is that
far
left?
right.
Yeah, right. You went far right. Like
you went
far
all
right
the way there. Like no, and you need to bring it back. Like
yeah,
like there a lot of Republicans don't even like him.
Yeah,
because he's literally just this like bigoted person in office. Like there's no way around that. He cares about only himself and people that look like him. There's just no simple way around that. So for him to co-sign, Trump, who literally goes out of his way to, discriminate and put things in place, laws in place that hurts people of color, it's just like it doesn't sit well with me. I feel like,
It's just like being where he came from, someone that was like so heavily involved in the black community, or like appeared to like have our values as his values. It's just that why would you want to be with someone that like clearly works to marginalize your people or whatever? And it's just like Like, I just don't know. I think there's something else going on because he's just lost. Like, he needs help.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's necessarily like, oh, let's cancel Kanye, or like, let's try to make this man get the help he needs, because I feel like he like low key sick in his head. Like, it's not even low key anymore. Like, there's
Yeah.
something going on.
I think he did an interview also with was it with Charlemagne? I don't know if it was with Charlemagne or the Breakfast Club or whoever.
They be playing him.
No, but he was basically he opened up about how I think it was in that interview. He opened up about how what he said was wrong when he said slavery is a choice in a way. But he said it in a way that's more like, I let you guys down by saying it in that way, which is incorrect. And he also talked about how he has bipolar disorder. So, like, yeah, he is. There is a few things wrong with him in his head, clearly. But, and that may cause him to have, like, certain outbursts like that, which don't, like, it won't make sense to us. Like, what he's saying, like, when he says slavery is a choice, it doesn't make sense just, like, putting it out there like that. Especially when you're talking to a white audience, it was just, like, a big no-no. Like, yes, today we do choose to still sort of like be like do certain things that is like in a slave mentality. However, it's not like we just woke up and chose that. It's kind of like this anti-blackness we were born into. It wasn't something that's like, oh, I'm gonna choose an orange today instead of an apple. It's something that's like very much ingrained. Yes, it's very condition based over generations. We can't just like snap right out of it like that. Like, come on, like it takes some time to like get our shit together. Like, growing up, like I can admit that I probably definitely had some anti like black tendencies like towards myself and maybe even towards other people. Like I honestly did wish that like I didn't have 4C hair. I wish that my skin was lighter at times. I wish, that basically I just wish that I wasn't black most of the time because I just thought my life would be easier and that it was better to be lighter or whatever people deemed as the closest thing to white, right, but yeah.
In the Jimmy Kimmel interview, he also spoke about his bipolar disorder and said that even as a child, he showed symptoms of it. So it's not something that's new. It's just interesting that the disorder is affecting him the way it is affecting him now versus when he first came out. Because it seems like he long since had this. So I feel like there's something on top of that disorder. Right. Like, I don't think it's just bipolar. Like, I feel like he's going through something and it's like adding to it or whatever. But yeah, and I do kind of see where you say like the anti-blackness may come into play with it, because even as someone, even when he behaved the way he did before, where he was very into like black issues and stuff, a lot of the women that he spoke to also, they don't look like a black woman, even though we come in different shades. I get that. Like,
it's the closest thing to like white or Hispanic or whatever.
Yeah. And the one black girl that he dated, was it Kim? It was the one black girl that he dated. I think she was his fiance. It was a black girl.
Oh yes.
And then after I think after he started messing with Kim, and then somehow he ended up with Amber, and then Kim came after. Because I think he knew Kim like long before they actually started dating.
They did. They used to hang out together with Amber.
Like she was a stylist or something, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Don't ask me. I know nothing about Kim.
But we would literally see pictures of like him, Amber, and then Kim was somewhere like right next to them. So it's just like,
like his type isn't black women. And it's not to say that you can't like be about black issues and date interracially. It's just that it's interesting the people that you find beauty in don't look like you. Like,
it's just interesting that it's like there aren't like we've never really seen him with like a dark skinned woman per se. And, that probably has to do with the media, too, because they usually push couples that are, the girl's light skin and the guy could be kind of pretty much whatever shade he wants to be. because you know there are some couples that are out there that we don't see that aren't pushed by the media, but to me, I think that he does prefer lighter skin, like most black men do prefer lighter skinned women. It's just the reality, you know. I'm not like I'm not trying to like demonize him.
Somebody gonna say we bitter. Somebody gonna hear it and be like, "Yo, they bitter," because nobody want dark skinned girls. Da 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 da. Like nobody's trying to say that,
right? Like every shade is beautiful. Everyone should be appreciated, but you know nobody should be like fetishized. And I feel like that happens a lot to light skinned women. I feel like that's mad disrespectful to like light skinned women because it's like you just look at them as sort of like this object. You're not really looking at them as a like a human being. You're looking at them like, oh, like this is a trophy type shit. Like I have made it. You know, I have the light skinned girl or I have the white girl. I've made it in society. This reflects on like my economic status or whatever. And I feel like that's just disrespectful to women. You know, like that shit is really, you know, that shit is really crazy. Like one of my friends is light skinned and she was talking to me about some guy that was like, she could tell that he liked her because she was light skinned and she basically dubbed his shit and like, told him off like, you're not about to just like me because I'm light skinned. Like that shit is mad like anti-black. You know, like what if your kid comes out like, you know, not light skinned? What if they come out dark? You gonna hate your kid and shit like that? And I feel like, you know, that's good. Like she don't mess with people like don't mess with people like that because they out to ruin your life. Okay, they're not about to love you unconditionally or anything like that. They're just about to treat you like an object, just like other women. So
and that's crazy too, because even like that's how it is with my mother. My mother is way lighter than me, and my father's dark skinned, and I came out dark skinned. So like he would have been tight because he would have been stuck. Like if that was to happen to him, like that's just interesting. But I think that also brings into play colorism. And I'm kind of glad, like, this is going to sound bad when I say it. I'm kind of glad that you're dark skinned because I don't speak about colorism with certain light skinned people.
Really?
I'm just going to be honest. Like, because I feel like a lot of times when you speak about colorism, they feel like a black person or a dark skinned person speaking about colorism is them like, oh, like I'm the victim, da 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 da. But it's just like, no, it's not me just trying to be the victim. It's just me trying to like speak on a history of reoccurrences that I keep seeing. Right. Like, because I'm always arguing with people on Instagram. So, this one girl was like, she's basically saying that colorism doesn't really exist and that we shouldn't act like we know what it means to be light skinned. Like, for example, if I was to say that light skinned women or lighter women are valued more, like they're seen as more attractive. Right. She was saying that you don't know what it's like to be a light skinned woman, so you can't speak on the fact that we're treated better because you never experienced our treatment.
That's literally like a white person saying like you don't know what it's like to be white, so you can't talk about your dark skin.
That's
issues.
what I'm saying. So it's like
that's a very false equivalence.
Sometimes speaking about it is almost like speaking to a white person about white privilege, which is why I often don't do it because it's just like you're not gonna tell me this doesn't exist. Like you're not, because I just feel like with me, like, as I told you before, like, I grew up in a Jamaican household, and a lot of the women would, like, bleach their skin. Yeah. And I just feel like you, as a light-skinned black girl, I know for a fact you did not grow up around parents that was tanning their skin to be darker because they hated their light skin so much. Exactly. Like, come on. Like, you wasn't raised to hate yourself over a skin complexion that you can't control. Like, oh, you're not beautiful enough because you're too light. Like, nobody does that. Right. And all the music videos that we listening to, they asking for red bones. They asking for, like, racially ambiguous women. Like, they're not saying, oh, like, dark-skinned women is the only way to go. Like,
exactly.
And they shouldn't say that or whatever.
Right, and it's not really about saying one is better than the other because it's never about that. Sis.
Yeah, it's not.
It's just saying, you know, there is privilege that comes with, like, being, like, you know, lighter skin. And it's like, okay, I understand, like, when some people are like, oh, you know, people don't consider me black or whatever because of my skin tone, this, that, and the third. But understand, like, those treatments, like, may affect the way you feel about yourself, yes, but it's not going to affect the way you go throughout the world, the way you move through the world. You're still going to have more opportunities than somebody, like, that is darker skinned. you're still gonna have more opportunities in school, opportunities in work. Wherever you go, life becomes so much easier for you once you have lighter skin. The closer you are to white, the easier certain circumstances may be for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I feel like people need to remember that. And this is a good segue into the shit that came up with Cardi B, because mad shit, Nicki and her Queen Radio shit, whatever.
I didn't watch the whole thing.
I didn't even watch it, yo.
That nut was killing me for the whole day. I swear, like the whole day.
Nah, because
I felt so bad.
I don't know if it was Nicki. I don't think it was Nicki that pulled it up, but her fans pulled up mad shit that Cardi B said in the past about
dead babies.
Yes, and I was utterly disgusted. I was very disappointed in Cardi B. I was disgusted, and the thing that she said about I don't know if she called the baby a monkey or whatever. Yeah. And she said some other, dark skinned woman, she was like, you look like two roaches having sex or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dang, I'm like, are these fake? And no, they're not. They turned out to be real. So, I was really like disgusted by that. Disappointed but not surprised at the same time, because
she made a lot of comments that could be argued as anti-black.
Mm-hmm. And when a few months ago this year, when Amar La Negra tried to check her on, well, she wasn't trying to check her, but she was just trying to talk about colorism in an instance, and Cardi B kind of took it as, oh, you're saying that I don't work hard for my shit. No, nobody's saying that. We're just saying that it's easier for you as a light-skinned Latina to move in the industry than Amar La Negra, who is clearly a very, very dark-skinned Latina person. So it's like...
And she was born over... she's Dominican, right?
Yeah, they're both
Wasn't she born in the Dominican Republic and then came here?
Yes, I think so.
So it's like, if anything, like, she... Like, obviously, Cardi grew up in that culture. She speaks Spanish, like... But it's like Amada, like, she actually lived there. Like, she experienced certain things in the country growing up. So
especially as a, like, Afro-Latina, woman. I'm just like, Cardi, like, at first I just thought, like, oh, like, you wasn't really getting what she was saying because, ignorance or whatever. But, like, now it's, like, it's a little bit more than that now that this is, like, kind of being unpacked. And I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just very disappointed. And it's like, it's interesting because she said in another interview that she prefers black men. She doesn't prefer Hispanic men. And Hispanic meaning like the light-skinned boys. They don't really refer to like Afro-Latino men or anything like that. They just refer to them as black or dark skin or whatever. And if you look at her dating history, it's probably been just a bunch of black, dark skinned men. So, it's crazy how it's like you fetish dark skinned men, but you hate, or you're showing hate to like dark skinned women and dark skinned children. So, like that contradiction.
A lot of black women are like that, though. A lot of black women, like, they prefer darker skinned men, and then black men prefer lighter skinned women, or whatever, which is very interesting. But according to, like, in regards to the Amada La Negra and the Cardi B situation, I think that's why it's very important that we enforce the idea that being Latino is not a race, Latino or Hispanic. Because I know some people, they hear that, and it's like, oh, why are they trying to take us out? Like, why are they trying to make us, like, separate, da-da-da-da? But it's like, when you market yourself as a race, you don't understand that you're marginalizing a significant group of people in your community. Because if it was seen as a race, usually when people think of Latinos, they're going to think of, like, J-Lo. They're going to think of, like, I can't think, Sophia...
Yeah, the girl from Modern Family. We don't know. We don't
like when they think of Latinos, they think of people that look like that.
Yes.
But like when you take out the fact that when you take out the fact that it's not a race, however you say that, my words are like moving around. You widen it a little bit more where they could like incorporate different people with different features, because it's really not race. Like Amada is clearly a black woman, and it's like J-Lo clearly has a little bit more European ancestry, or whatever. So it's like they can all be in the community and all be under that Latino umbrella without feeling marginalized in their in their community because they don't have a certain like
group
certain features and stuff like that. So it's like it's not a race. You just have to understand that. Like but
and it's like they've been like that for a while. Like just recently in like I think 2017 or 2018, I know Mexico finally got like Afro Mexicans in their census or something like that. And it's like they've been there for like how many hundreds of years now. They've been there just, you know, not being recognized, needs not being met, not recognized as a people, not recognized as racial issues going on. So like, yeah, we need to like step our cookies up.
You know something else that bothers me? I don't like it when people call all Latinos black either. Yes. That irks me too. Like how
or people of color, because not all Latinos are people of color. Let's get like, that straight.
White people can be Latino, and if people of color means everyone that's not white. That means if you're white and Latino, that doesn't automatically make you a person of color because you're still white. Like
just because you speak Spanish don't mean you're a person of color.
And they be like, oh, they could say nigga because she's Latino. No, you can't say nigga. You can't. Like you can't. Relax. Calm down. Like there's this YouTuber. I wasn't gonna say that.
There we go.
There's this YouTuber named Kelly Sweet. And I think you know who she is. She's like real skinny. She dresses nice.
Kelly Sweet. I'm about to look that up right now.
But she dates not a girl. She dates a guy. I forget his name or whatever. But like this dude is like always saying nigga. Like he's always saying nigga.
Not light skin. He's white.
I feel like you could look at him and tell that he's he has some stereotypical Latino traits or whatever, but he still looks Caucasian for the most part. Like he seems like he has mixed ancestry to me, or whatever. But he's still not black. So I'm just like, where is like he be throwing the nigga out like left and right, like nigga, and I was like, nobody gonna say nothing. Like, and then she, for his birthday, because I guess he's adopted, so for his birthday, she got him the 23andMe or whatever, because he wanted to know his ancestry, which a lot of us do. And I was just like, can you post the results so that we can see that he's European and this man could chill on all the niggas? Because, like, I don't know. But it was something else that you were saying that I wanted to respond to about, I think it was the Cardi B, how she... Yeah, you know what I also find funny? A lot of people say Cardi B is black.
She is just now kind of like identifying as black, but she did not identify as black a few years ago before she was popping and all that. She would identify as Hispanic, Dominican, whatever, but she would not call herself black.
But I find it funny because I always see people call Cardi black, but they don't call Hennessy black. And they have the same mother and father.
That's interesting.
Is it because, like... Hennessy might look more racially ambiguous.
I think that says because Cardi B, like her features, you know, she has
very African
features. Like, yes, you could say that about her.
Yeah, and even her hair, like she has kinky hair or whatever. But I just find it funny, like how she's black, but Hennessy's not.
Like, oh, it's interesting because it's like, you know, for me, I will say that, like I would typically put Cardi B. Or someone that looks like Cardi B in the black category, just because, especially like if you're Dominican, like, and you know you're clearly like you look like African descent, you're probably also Haitian, and Haitians very much take pride in like them being Africa and this and third and dark. You know, Haiti is very dark, but you know Dominicans hate Haitians. I don't know what's going on over there, but you know, like, she does, like, because of her features, I will say that she is, you know, black, but it's just, like, I don't really feel like, it doesn't sit well with me that, like, all of a sudden now she's definitely claiming black, now that she's famous, and especially because she uses the N-word a lot in her songs, and it's sort of in a way to be like, you know, it's okay because I'm black, or I identify as black. It's kind of like Rachel Dolezal being like, it's okay that I check off black because I identify as black. Yeah, like, it's just like a weird, like, you know, you wasn't really, you know, claiming that before, but now you OD claiming that. So it's just like, I kind of like, I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me.
That kind of brings in the argument, is transracial a thing? In my class, we spoke about transracial versus transgender.
Not.
We did.
What class was that?
It was a sociology class. It was the end of the summer or whatever. And we was talking about transracial and transgender. It was like, if transgender is a thing, why can't transracial be a thing?
Did a white person say that?
The teacher was white, but I don't think the topic was. I think we was watching something in class and the question came up. I don't think the teacher pushed that out there or whatever. But
we go to UA, by the way. Shout out to Albany.
Ew.
I'm dead. She's a transfer student, so she don't really fuck with it. UA
I can't stand this school. But yeah, I don't think transracial is the same thing. And I don't think it's the same as being transgender.
I don't believe it exists.
Because I feel like with transgender, like, they did a study where they showed that, like, a lot of trans people, they often have the same thought patterns or hormone balances that cisgendered people with their same identity have.
Right.
So it seems like they still have some similarities. Whereas when it comes to transracial, a lot of times, if you're outside that group, you don't often experience the same experiences that they experience. So it seems just like, oh, their culture seems cool, so let me be a part of that. Like, because you don't really know what it means to be of that group. So it's just like, it's like if a white person went up and was like Rachel, if she was like her saying, oh, I just feel like I'm black. It's like, how do you feel like you're black? You don't experience the black experience. Like, you don't go what we go through. You weren't raised in the conditions that we're raised under. So it's like, what exactly makes you feel like you're black?
Yeah, and also like gender is definitely a spectrum. So it's just like that being trans, I feel like definitely like fits within that. And then race is definitely like a man-made social construct to divide people. And like transgender doesn't really, it has no like, it also has like biological like
components.
Yes, components, causes, and things like that. And if you look at people that are intersex, the people that have both like female and male gonads, you can see like in their behavior they kind of embody both, sometimes male and female characteristics, the way they talk, the pitch in their tone and things like that. So it's like it's more like feasible and understandable to get like why transgender people exist, and that they need to have agency within the world. You know, they should be able to move how they need to move to get resources. But transracial, I feel like it's really just a bunch of people saying like, oh no,
I want to do this.
Cool. This is cool. Let me say that.
Let me do this real quick. Right. Like, no, it's not this. It's not the same as being transgender.
Definitely not.
I wish I took notes because there's mad stuff that I'm forgetting. But I feel like we could have went more in depth with the Kanye thing because I forgot certain things. But the Cardi B and Nicki Minaj thing, I could kind of see it.
Nicki is trash, by the way. Just putting that out there.
No, Nicki is also
trash. No, Nicki is. Listen, Nicki as an artist, I like Nicki as an artist. As a person, she seems trash.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I don't mean I agree, y'all. Don't come for me. I could kind of see it. I could kind of see it on both sides. Like, okay, so let's speak in Cardi B's favor first. Like, you were saying, like, people see a lot of contradictory actions that she does because in the past she made comments about other people's kids without considering the fact that that's somebody's child. And she also has made very anti-black statements in the past or whatever. So that works against her argument or whatever. But I could kind of understand where Cardi B's coming in a way because I'm one of those people. I hate passive-aggressive people. Yeah. Like, I don't like you, like, going, like, underhand blows. I don't like you subbing me. Like, all that other stuff. So I can get with her, it's like these little things are continuously happening. And I got to continuously make it slide. And it's like... when I see her, like, I want to act on it because she shouldn't be allowed to just be moving the way she's moving without repercussions. And it's like, we all from New York. Like, we know when you talk crazy, at some point, you're gonna get a reaction for your craziness.
Yeah.
Like nobody's just gonna lay down and let you continuously act crazy. Like
Nikki definitely said on her little show it's on site. So like, what's up?
She did.
She did.
I need to watch. I need to listen to Queen Radio.
So I'm like, okay, sis, where was the on siteness?
Yeah.
Given this, you know, if I was in Nikki's situation, I wouldn't be fine either. My rich ass not fighting.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I could kind of see on both sides. Like on Nikki's side, like in favor of Nikki, I just feel like can't nobody pull up any proof that Nikki said that. Like she liked the comment, but Cardi is always liking comments.
That's true too. That is absolutely
Cardi's
true.
always liking comments. Cardi seems like she's always arguing with quote unquote fans, which people use the word fans too loosely.
They do.
Like Cardi seems like somebody says something and she automatically arguing with them, and it's like, nah, you gotta chill. Like you gotta understand, not everybody's gonna like you.
Yeah.
So it's like, understand you're rich, move on. You ain't gotta do all that extra stuff no more. Like, can't nobody pull up that Nikki said anything about her daughter. And you can't use the Travis Scott situation as an excuse because it's like, that has nothing to do with you. So it's just, move on from that.
Like, there is actually, like you said, no proof. And there is some speculation that it is...
she just wanted an excuse to, like, fight her.
Yes, because also they were saying that tweet might have not been real. Like, somebody could have faked that tweet, like, with the verifiedness and everything. Like, they're saying that like or whatever, that could have been, like, fake by one of Nicki's fans, Barbies or whatever. Because that happens a lot. That happens also to Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. So, for her to just, like, automatically take that like and be like, okay, I'm going to run with this, like, no. But... to Cardi B's defense, Nicki has been, like, doing some slimy shit. Not just to Cardi B, but, like, to many of these people. Like, you know, Matt, it's, like, the same thing over and over again. With Mary Ma, Mariah Carey, Cardi B. Who else?
Nah, I get the Mariah Carey, though.
You
like, obviously, I don't know these people personally. And this is why I have no, like, I wouldn't, like... You know how some people, they don't know these celebrities, but they genuinely don't like them? And it's like, why you don't like people you don't know? Mariah has this air about her where she's like, I'm the ish. Like,
she does have that
and it's great to have confidence, but confidence is different from just being cocky and, like, having an inflated ego and stuff like that. So with the Nicki thing, I'm not going to lie, like, I wasn't mad when Nicki was, like, doing her little thing with Mariah or whatever. But I also found it funny when Mariah was like, I don't know her. Like, you didn't see it?
Yeah, like, she did it on purpose.
Like, that's what, like, the classy shade is nice or whatever. But, like, again, in Nicki's favor...
I mean, y'all had a whole song together, so I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know her.
Again, in Nicki's favor, it's like... when somebody's coming at you through words and they're coming at you intellectually and it's like all you can do is like physically attack them, it's almost like you don't have the intellectual capacity to combat them with your words or intelligence. It seems like oh, I'm struggling, I can't really find a way to come at her, so I'm gonna just come at her physically because that's what I'm used to. Like at a certain point you have to level up. With Nicki and Cardi, I just feel like it was just dumb. And people like, oh, well, Nicki was scared. She was standing in the corner. Her security guards was going to let y'all fight?
Yeah, what they getting paid for? Shit.
What they getting paid for?
No.
We still looking at Beyonce's security team like they retarded.
Yeah.
Having the people run up on stage. Like...
the security detail, they would have been out of business. For. Exactly.
Like, and Nicki's 5'2". Like, so these big men, like, they should be able to maintain her.
I be thinking about that. I be thinking about how Nicki's dead ass 5'2", just like me, but her ass is crazy big. I just be like, yo, what would I look like with the crazy?
Nah, but you got a big butt too.
That's not true.
But hers, she does.
Listen.
First of all, relax.
First of all,
her butt is big.
It is proportion.
Yeah, it's proportion, but you still have a big butt. You still have thighs. Like, you're not MAGA. Like, you have a little meat on you.
MAGA? Is that like
MAGA's like skinny.
Oh,
the Jamaican came out.
I'm dead.
But,
we call it, what do we call it? We call it, like, tearing or something like that. Tearing. But, yeah.
But, yeah, like, you got meat on you still. But, I'm not gonna lie, with Nicki, sometimes it does look a little
fake.
No, it's
Hard.
obviously fake. That's why, like, I like the fact that she's honest about her work.
Oh,
Like, a
yes,
lot of people will be
definitely.
like, I went to the gym,
Like
I did
Kim,
these squats.
Like, oh, my butt is real, guys. I have X-rays. Like, okay, sis.
Amada La Negra is the only one that could slide because she actually has pictures posted of her as a child.
When she was
Shorty
a child,
been thick.
Shorty had this crazy looking
Shorty been thick.
arch. I was like,
yo,
what?
she is beautiful.
But you know,
I think her
how
titties are fake though. I think her titties are fake.
But a lot of like Africans, that's exactly how they look.
Yeah.
If you look up I forgot her name, but it was this lady, she was from South Africa, I believe, a tribe in South Africa. She was a slave in I don't know if it was America or Europe, but she was put in a museum. Her remains were put in a museum. It was very awful. But she was basically put there for
her name was Sarah. Sarah, I should.
That was probably not even her real name, but you know what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, her shit was crazy, and everybody from that tribe, they all got shit that.
And they took her body parts and like put it in museums. And I think it was until recently that they sent some of it back.
Yeah, they were. Yes, they were still asking for that shit back in 2010.
Like centuries, like
that shit is really like it irks me.
But you bring up a good fact though. People don't notice that a lot of black women are naturally built this way.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have been tight. Like, a lot of black women are naturally built with curves. Like, it shouldn't be like, oh, you see someone with a big butt, so you automatically assume it's fake. Like, I'm my mother's only daughter with a long back. Like, shut up. Like, the rest of them be thick as hell. Like, one of my sisters, she has, well, both of them, they have both.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and a small waist. So it's like a lot of women are just built like that. Like, you can't automatically assume that it's fake or whatever. But what was he? Oh, so again, when we was talking about Nicki or whatever, I just feel like, cause I like both artists. I'm not gonna lie, I be listening to both of them. I follow both of them.
Yeah,
on
I like
Instagram.
them both as artists, but it's just like their personality needs some work. And it's just like I've been, Nicki, old school days. Like I used to. Really
I think it's because I'm from Queens.
I'm dead.
I think it's because I'm from
biased,
Queens.
Though.
I'm biased. I'm not gonna lie.
Don't listen to her, y'all. She's biased. I'm from
Southside Jamaica.
Listen, but but honestly, like Nicki, like I've been like waiting for Nicki to really like get her back on her shit, like because I feel like she really like in the industry, like apparently a lot of people say that she has like an attitude problem and an ego problem as well, and I can see that how that reflects in her career because I feel like she doesn't really try to help other artists. Like if Cardi B and Nicki were to collab, that shit would have been amazing. You know how many black female artists they could have brought up through that collab? Like y'all really could have did some shit with that, but instead y'all beefing and fighting each other up. Like I'm listen, y'all need to be worried about my pockets. Y'all are supposed to be getting at my pockets, but instead y'all are fighting each other. What happened to securing the bag, this and the third, and helping other female artists? You know, back in the day, Nicki really used to shout out to like mad female rappers. Even Lil Kim, she even shouted out Lil Kim like, oh, I look up to her, this and the third. But it's like now she don't.
Nicki don't respect Kim.
Yeah, she doesn't, and she doesn't like. I feel like she doesn't like help other female artists. She always wants to be the best, and I get it. Like you should always try to be the best and be your best self. But when you're tearing other people down just so that you can be on top, that's when I'm like, okay, no, like now you're on some like grimy shit. Like,
see, with me, I don't automatically get why people say Nicki's jealous of other people, because I just feel like, yeah, there was Remy Ma and there's Cardi, and I guess you could say, yeah, and you could definitely say Little Kim, but I feel like it seems like it's a lot of instances where they let outside sources influence their behavior. Like, I feel like the Cardi B and Nicki thing was like something that was very much so pushed
by social media. Their fans
like they're constantly comparing them, and it's like I don't think it's not solely Nicki Minaj, because we constantly have this thing where it's like women have to compete to be on top. Like we can't all be dope. It's like, no, we have to take turns. Like it only has to be one woman at a time. So I can't
Right.
just say like it's
Y'all need
Nicki
to
Minaj
tear that shit down.
because she collaborated with a lot of other female rappers, and it seems like she have relationships with a lot of other female rappers and artists in general. So it's just like I can't say that it's just Nicki. I just feel like people like force them to like hit heads or whatever because it entertains us. And I'm not gonna lie, that knot on Cardi's forehead entertained me. So it's like I can't get where it comes from.
The thing is, it's just like, first of all, Nicki, you're mad old. Like you're like not mad old. You're not old, but you at an age where it's like, okay, you mature as an adult. You are you're no longer a young lady. You are a woman now. You know, you're in your womanhood days now, and it's just like, you can't let things like social media. I get, social media does have a big influence on everyone, including myself. But it's like, you can't let that direct how you want to be or the person you are, and what your values are. Because I feel like starting out in the industry, like, she had a lot of like clear values that she wanted to break, this male dominated field, and let other artists come in, like other female artists, this and third. But it's just like, now it's kind of just like, it doesn't seem very like
genuine.
Yeah, it feels like very like egocentric. Like, everything just feels very egocentric, and like, I feel like it kind of like reflects in a lot of her songs. It's just like, she finds
these my sons.
Right, she finds 20 million different ways to say these are my sons. Not gonna lie, they be hitting, those bars be hitting sometimes, but it's like, all right, like, we need something else, you know. I love Nicki. I love a lot of your songs, but
that's what I was gonna say.
Like,
I feel like
to, like, evolve.
I feel like when it comes to her resume, I feel like can't nobody come for her because like she doesn't just
very
rap.
Accomplished.
Like she moves across genres. She seems very creative when it comes to like the music that she puts up there. Like,
that's
she wants
why
to sing
it's
this,
so sad.
she wants to rap this way.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, like, she seems like she's slowing down a bit. Because even with me, like, Nicki is forever beautiful. But watching her video, the one that she just put out, Barbie Things or Barbie Dreams.
Oh yeah, I didn't like it.
I'm just like, we know
like,
you're beautiful. Like,
we know you have a fat ass. We know you.
It's just her being beautiful. It's like, why couldn't you be more creative in the video process?
Yeah.
Like, I was saying, like, I was like talking in the comments or whatever, but like how she had the puppets and all of that.
Yeah.
She should have made the puppets act out the stories that she was saying the rappers was doing in the song. Like, she should have had the Young Thug puppets stealing dresses, trying them on.
There should have been more of that in the video.
She could have been more creative. It was her walking around.
It kind of seemed like a last minute, like,
let me just throw this together real quick.
Like, let me just, my project is due in like, an hour. Let me just.
It seems like she's doing like minimal effort.
And it's
right
like, you have all the resources. You've been on top. You have all the resources. You've come to a place where you need to just challenge yourself more, because it's like, you've given us what we wanted, and it's like, now you're not giving us what we need, like when Roman's Revenge came out, bruh, I was oh my god, I was a diehard Nicki fan. When she had the verse with Diddy and Hello Good Morning or whatever, and like when she did fucking Pink Friday, and she had the song with Eminem. Wait, that's Roman's Revenge, right? Yeah, that's Roman's Revenge. I'm thinking of something else. But it's just like the music videos, the concepts, herself, like, it was all like, like, it was very creative. But now it's kind of just like, we're like dwindling back a little bit. And it's because you are slipping off the totem pole. And Cardi B is the one that's kind of like,
and it shouldn't be like that. I feel like she's just trying to throw content out there. It's not really,
it's not art
no
more.
Anymore. But it's like, Nicki is a dope artist, and I just feel like she rap better than a lot of the men here do. Cause a lot of men,
def do, because these Gucci niggas, like little Gucci, little pump, whatever. Like they just be. That's the thing. That's the thing about rap. Men can be all the same, but they lit as hell. They lit. Y'all love them. But if a woman has like, a similar whatever, then it's like, oh, she's trash, she's not creative.
She's trying to imitate this person and that person.
Right.
It's like, at least Nicki constantly tries to reinvent. Like, she tries to be at different stages of her life, whereas y'all are just stagnant. Like, and it's just like, people constantly mention her age, but they forget that there's men out here that's almost 40 years old
Yeah.
rapping about the same girls they want to
Bitches and
sleep
shit.
with, and but you're married. Like, we shouldn't be condoning this behavior. Like, this shouldn't be a thing. Like, come on. Like, I just feel like she just needs to be more creative in her video. Her and Cardi B need to chill with the beef. They need to put out a song. Like, we can see it on both. Like, I can see it on both sides. Like, I can see why Cardi's bothered. I can see why Nicki's bothered. But like, at the end of the day, y'all could just relax. And she said, like, what she said.
I don't know why the beef is so much though, because honestly, like, what do y'all really have against each other?
If somebody said
say?
something, if somebody said something about my kid, I would want to pop too.
Of
But
course,
she didn't
hell
say
yes.
nothing about her kid.
Yes.
So it's just, we just all confused, to be honest.
And you
Like,
know, the thing is too, I feel like Nicki was backing off while Cardi B was pregnant. Because they met up at the Met Gala, they talked, they did the pictures together, they had a little hug, whatever, and everything seemed fine. And Cardi B was like, I feel like Cardi B was just like, you're right, you know what, everything's okay.
Cardi liked the comment.
What did she say?
Because you know I be watching Lovely T.
Oh my gosh.
I don't.
You know, I be watching the Impressive channel. Shout out to the Impressive channel. I love the
Shout
channel.
out to Lovely T. I don't always agree with everything that you say,
But
most of the things I do respect, like, or whatever. But she posted a thing where it was that picture where people was like, they were so hyped because they saw them like smiling in each other's face. Yeah. And somebody off Instagram, because Lovely T, she posted people's like comments in her videos, and somebody posted was like, Cardi's face looks like, oh, I don't like this itch, but I'm gonna try to be respectable or something like that. Like, oh, I'm not buying nothing she's saying, basically. And Cardi liked the comment. Cardi was like, yeah, basically.
Honestly, okay, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, shit like that is annoying, but it's like, I feel like at the same time, people read into shit a lot.
They do.
And it's just like, but at the same time, can you blame us? Because of all the shit that has been going down with y'all. Because Nicki also dissed Nicki dissed Cardi on some interview that she had when her album came out and shit like that, and she was talking about the issue with motorsport and things like that. But honestly, I feel like,
you mean that hour interview she did and she started crying?
Yeah,
I don't feel like she dissed her, cause I think she was basically saying that they weren't in the video together because their times didn't match up, and I think it was something about a hairdresser. Like, she said the hairdresser didn't have enough time in his schedule to do her hair, and then she was insisting like, oh, can you make sure you do it in time so that I can record with Cardi, because if I'm not there, they're just gonna think that I'm trying to be mean and just not record with her, just to not record with her. So I don't think like Nicki be coming out her face like straight disrespecting her.
I just think it's like
I think for Cardi it's just, when people constantly come at Cardi and say Nicki's doing A, B, and C, it's like the little things add up. And I can see that, because like passive aggressive people, like, they make my blood boil. So I can see why Cardi's mad. She just should have never did it at that situation.
Yeah.
Like, if you like, I feel like if they have each other's numbers, I would have dead dropped my location at Nicki and was like, "Oh,
that's why I'm just like, why didn't y'all just meet up?
Here? Like, yeah. Can you just meet me here?" Because like,
I feel like they be on some my people will call your people shit. Like, and it's just like, all right, girl.
But even if y'all trying to be on that type of, can they hear us outside the door? Because these people keep like looking in here, and I'm just like,
yes.
But that's But I just feel like
I thought
even
they were soundproof.
Oh,
I don't really know though, but
they might. I don't know.
No, they can suck my dick anyway.
But even if they was like, oh, my people can call your people type of time, like, y'all could have did that and just met up somewhere else, because one, New York Fashion Week is not the place. Like, this is where you network, this is where you meet new people, this is where you try to promote your brand, stuff like that. And it's like, if people feel like you're problematic, why would they want you there? Why would they want you like advertising or sponsoring their material if it's like, we don't want our stuff to be connected to this type of person?
And there was some stuff about, I don't know, this is all alleged, I didn't confirm this information, but they were saying that Cardi B's what is it called? Her sponsorship with Amazon is like looking like it's about to come down and shit like that. And I'm just like, dang, like, I just feel like this is what I feel like. Like, yes, they should not have fought there, but I'm not gonna sit here and say like, you know, people are not doing coke in the bathroom and shit like that. People are not like
they probably do, but they do
at
shit
the
in the
same
bathroom.
time. At the same time, I feel like yes, like this definitely was an opportunity to just keep expanding your brand and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel terrible that Cardi B had to be carried out. You're a celebrity. You're a rich
with no
celebrity.
shoes on and the lump on her forehead.
You had to be carried out by police, security, like, and it was just like it was just like, somebody compared her and Solange with like side by side with Solange beat up Jay-Z and other. They both woke up same face. They had the same face on like year end.
But see, the difference is Solange did it in the elevator, whereas Cardi was there with 500 people around her and recording. It's like
that's what really threw me. Like I was just like, dang, somebody definitely got paid for this video, yo. When the clear video came out on TMZ, I was just like, dang.
Nigga was like, I'm gonna stay right here.
I would have stayed my rich ass right there too. Bitch, I'm not fighting nobody. Well, that's just me though. I can't fight for shit. When I do get older in life and somebody tries to check me, hopefully I'll be at the time where I have enough money for somebody to handle that. Other than that, I will not be fighting nobody. But honestly, I just feel like they'd be mad at each other for nothing. That's why they kind of look like a bunch of girls to me. Because it's just like, what are y'all really mad about? Nobody fucking anybody's nigga. Nobody like...
That's another... Because Offset be out here looking like he messing with everybody.
Yes, and I think that Cardi is also riled up from that situation going on in her marriage. And I'm just like, honestly, you really deserve better, Cardi. Like, you do not deserve this ain't shit ass nigga. Mm-hmm. And if that shit is true about you getting like those
in the fight with the strippers,
with the bartender, like, come on now, like,
sorry,
bartenders, strippers, sex workers, whatever your occupation is, we respect you.
Yeah, do you think?
Keep on your grind. But I just feel like that shit, like, that really pissed me off because it's like, how you gonna be fighting other women for him sleeping with them? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, y'all need to gang up together to fight the man. Stop letting the man make you fight each other. Like that.
I could kind of see on both sides with that too. I need to stop saying this because on one end, like if the girl doesn't know about the relationship, you have to check your man. Like the girl should not be getting any of your aggression because it's not her fault. She didn't know you exist. But if it's in a situation where the female or male, whoever that outside person is, if they're aware of the relationship and they still continue to pursue that person, I'm going to look at both of them crazy. Because it's like, this is why people can't be in happy, long-lasting relationships because there's people like you that's content on being the side. Now, a lot of side people will be like, oh, well, I choose to be the side because I don't like serious relationships. I don't like the hassle of a committed relationship, da-da-da. So it's like, if you don't like that...
risk your ass getting beat. Just say.
No, but that's the thing. Like, if you don't like that, find somebody else that also don't like that. Like,
that's
somebody that just wants to casually date. Like, if you don't want a serious relationship, don't have one.
You don't have to be with somebody who's married.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like, I feel like this is what I feel like. I feel like those strippers or whatever... I don't know if they were just having sex to have sex with them because what if they were somehow compensated for their shit? In that situation, I feel like they're just doing business. They're just doing their job. They come to work. That's what happens. That's what happens. Mm-hmm. And in that situation, it's gonna be like, to me, it's gonna be like, you as a man, you went out of your way to do the situation. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you went out of your way. And Cardi, you should have been mad at your man because these are people who are at work. They're not gonna deny if they're getting compensated in some way. I'm not gonna deny that shit. If that's me, I'm not. You wanna buy me a car or something or whatever?
I could kind of get it on that aspect. Like if you're doing it for work or for money, and it's like you're in a hard situation, you don't want to be a stripper regardless. You're just doing this because this is something that you have to do to survive. I could understand why they're not gonna like just say, "Oh no, I don't want to do this," even though you giving me like $10,000 to do it. Like nobody's gonna say that or whatever.
Or if you buy,
but if you're just a regular broad, and this is a regular dude, and you know this man is in a relationship, and you just going out of your way, like I'm gonna look at both of y'all crazy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
his stuff might get burned, but you might not just walk away. Like I'm gonna look at both of y'all crazy.
That's why I feel like I respect women that really, like, if you find out that, you're the side, or if you find out that your man is cheating, you contact the girl and you want let's do some shit together. Let's do some shit together where we, this nigga walk in the room. Brave. No, that shit, y'all about to be best friends after that shit. Because, like, come
y'all
on now.
have to be best friends. That's like the ultimate, like, female empowerment.
I'm fucking dead.
Like, right. I feel like in a perfect world that would work out. But in the world that we live in, sometimes girls be on the kill the messenger type of thing. Yeah. And it's like, well, at the end of the day, he got a girl now, so right. Stay out of here. Stay out of here. And it's like, no, like, you don't feel stupid.
Right. But here's my thing also. I feel like, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like maybe Cardi B doesn't want to be in a monogamous relationship with Offset. Like, maybe they have somewhat of an open relationship. Kind of like Tiana Taylor and whatever his name is, Iman or whatever. Mm-hmm. But if that's the case, then it's like, why are you upset? This is all alleged, not confirmed.
I don't know if Tiana and what's the name have a necessarily open relationship.
I mean, they talked about that in an interview.
I think of it, like, occasionally they do threesomes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, maybe they do.
Whereas Offset seems like he just out here. Like, he just seemed like he out here.
And I feel like the thing, I only said that because they got married by the time that video came out of him cheating. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, okay, so you got married before this, and you probably knew that this happened. Mm-hmm. So maybe you were okay with that in some respect, because that was a very short period of time where all of that was happening. So I'm just like, okay, you must have known, because when that shit came out, you wasn't pressed about that. So maybe y'all are in an open relationship, and she be talking in songs like, I want to have a threesome with Rihanna and shit like that. So I'm just like, okay, maybe y'all dapper in some shit, some non-monogamous shit. And that's fine, but clearly, if you're upset about him going to these bartenders or whatever,
I think the only difference that I think it probably is, I think, like, if she is aware that they're gonna be
the situation,
if she's aware that they're gonna be dealing with people, and if, like, it's all about communication and about both parties being involved. Mm-hmm. Like, if he's doing something and she's involved in the situation, then I guess she would view it differently versus him sneaking behind her back and just messing around with people or whatever. So, like, I could kind of get it. Like, it seems like she's not aware of these women. But, again, these women are very aware of her because he's always posting pictures of her. Like,
and she's a star. Like, they're both stars. Everybody know they're married.
So, again, I could see why Cardi would be mad, because it's like, why are you trying to play me? Mm-hmm. Like, don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that. Like, I could get it.
But, man, I wanted to talk about this before, but when we was talking about Cardi B and, like, her saying the N-word, some people think that she shouldn't say the N-word. But I wanted to segue into what Seren had to say. And if y'all don't know, she is she's a creative personality, and she is usually on the Grapevine, if y'all know the Grapevine, on YouTube. And her YouTube name, I think, is like
you said some Asian-ish.
It's like Sensei something. I'm about to show you right now. It's Sensei Ashi Temasu. I probably didn't say that right.
You could just spell it out.
Yeah, so Sensei, Sensei, and then Aishitemasu. So in the video, I'm trying to find it right now, but I don't know if she deleted it, but I definitely watched it. So in the video title was basically like, can Africans or non-Black Americans say that word, right? So, but the conversation was geared towards Africans, and that meaning Africans living in America, and I also suppose continental Africans, but the people that we deal with is just Africans living in America, things of that sort. So she basically said that as like a short answer is no. So many people had a problem with that. And this kind of just like reflects her views on like how she feels like Africans sort of, I don't know how to put it, like the rift between African Americans and Africans maybe is mainly Africans' fault. I feel like, because in the Grapevine video, Africans versus African Americans, you can see her basically kind of going hard about Africans and them kind of having this anti-black nature, which definitely does exist. And I'm an African person saying that there's definitely an anti-black nature within Africans, but it's like the same thing exists within Caribbeans, Black Americans. Like, so it's just another form of that to me. That's just my opinion. My thought on that is that I feel like every person that is of African descent could say the N word. But I can understand where she comes from because she feels like the Black American ethnicity is often rejected by Africans, and rejected in the sense that their culture is not a culture, and things like that, but they still want to participate in Black culture, which I understand. I understand that frustration.
That's what I was saying to you before when you first told me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't like if I heard an African person say nigga, especially if they look like me,
mm-hmm.
I don't think I would be offended because in my head we're all Black.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter where you come from, we're all Black. And it's like, obviously I don't expect them to experience what Black Americans experience because in America we're often the minority. So it's like if they're not under the oppression of a dominant white group constantly marginalize them in their communities, I don't expect you to experience racism on the level that we experience.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like when she said that they often have anti-Black tendencies or whatever, I could understand where she comes from because I feel like a lot of like Black immigrants, they often look down on Black Americans. Like
they do.
They often, and I heard I had an African manager. She was from South Africa. I don't know where in South Africa, but she said when she thought of Black Americans, she saw them as ghetto. She saw them as like uneducated, like basically all the stereotypes that they have about Black Americans here, which is annoying because I feel like as an African person, regardless of where you're coming from, Africa, you should understand that the media often portrays us in ways that doesn't really display how we really are. Like when people look at Africa, they automatically think of like starving children. They think of homeless people or people living in huts, stuff like that. And it's like, as an African person, a lot of Africans have told me that they actually live in very prosperous areas. They have actual houses that they live in and stuff like that. So I just feel like if you're coming from that side and you see how the media constantly misconstrues your group, you should be more understanding of African Americans.
Right.
Like you should understand that this isn't always how things actually are or whatever. So I can understand where she's saying that they often hate Black Americans. I still feel like they should be able to say nigga even though it doesn't affect them the way that it affects us, because at the end of the day, they're still Black. And when they leave those communities where they're the majority and they move into other places where they're not, they're going to be treated just as we are.
Yep.
Because they're still Black. So,
and I feel like what people need to like understand, like also from like from Africans, like y'all, like including me, because I'm African, like y'all really need to understand that like Black people are Black because they come from Africa. Like y'all need to stop. Like, okay, this is why I understand that we do have two different cultures, because the culture in America is very different from the culture in different parts of Africa, because Africa is a whole continent. So that on
54
itself,
countries.
Yeah, that in itself, that's a whole nother like that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But like at the same time though, like when they do try to be like, oh, like I want to get to know my African parts, like y'all need to be more accepting. And if they don't do something right, culturally or something like that, or if they wear a certain thing that you think is offensive, or they don't do certain, you need to just educate them. Don't bash them. Don't be like, oh, this is why y'all don't do shit, da da da. Like no, like just educate them so that they can know for themselves. And if they still don't care at that point, then that's when you know you want to go in or whatever, go in on that person, but don't make a generalization upon like all African Americans. And I feel like that's something that I had to constantly teach my mom, because when I was growing up, she would dead ass tell me like, don't hang around like these don't hang around like Black Americans, this and third. Like she would always like, y'all, if y'all African, you're Nigerian, or if you're Yoruba, you really understand what I'm telling you right now. Like your mom wants you to mainly be with people that are Nigerian. And I feel like that goes with the many other countries as well, like not just including African countries, but you can see that amongst like Sri Lankan people, Indian people, like they all, like everybody wants to be with themselves. Nobody really wants to be in the mix with Black Americans. But at the same time, I still understand when Africans experience xenophobia from Black people. My best friend, who came to this country, like I think like middle school, high school, she experienced a lot of xenophobia coming to this country, and she felt like the most bullying that she got was from Black people, and not white people, which is kind of like a lot of the times.
Was the school predominantly Black people?
The school was definitely a good mix of Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, things of that sort. And I feel like that just comes a lot from just like part of anti-Blackness too. My mom experienced that, people saying go back to where you came from and they're Black. You usually expect the white person to say that, but when you hear somebody that's like Black saying that, you just feel like, oh nah, like I'm not fucking with these people. Like they don't claim me, they don't claim my culture, they don't understand me, even though we look the same in many different ways, and we have a lot of similarities in our cultures. So like I can understand like why Africans, they be like, there's like this weird vibe when it comes to like conversations like this. But I feel like basically on both parts, like we need to realize the privileges that we have. Being Black in America and having like all the privileges of what comes with living in America, like we need to realize that. I realize that as a person like living in America, African person living in America. And I will say that I am part of Black American culture because I like experienced a lot of my life in America. But I think also like Africans need to also realize their privilege when they come to like America too, in the sense that like white people often will hire people that are like non-Black American. Like if you're African, you have an African name, you have an accent, they will think sometimes that you're hardworking more than a regular like Black American person that lives here. And it wasn't just like, at first I thought that wasn't true, but like I feel like that dead ass is true. And like my one of my mentors who's a lawyer, she was telling me about that shit, and I'm just like, and she basically, I don't know if she was saying like, take advantage of that, but I feel like she was just definitely saying that it exists. And I definitely recognize that, but at the same time, it's not all peaches, because it's like a lot of people coming over here, they struggling because they don't come over with their degrees. Like degrees, education doesn't transfer, so we really got to start from the bottom. A lot of us, even if you're a doctor back home, you could be a lawyer, doctor back home, you'd be working like a minimum wage job over here. And I know a lot of people that are doing things like that, and it's sad. Like I know people that have PhDs working regular jobs. So it's just like, it's but the problem is like, back home there's not a lot of job opportunities, even if you have your degrees, and you basically have to know someone. So if you don't have a connection, it's clipped. But here it's a little bit different. You still need connections sometimes, but it's definitely a little bit less corrupt than like, let's say for example like Nigeria. I don't really know about all 54 countries, but I can just speak for Nigeria. Yeah, I feel like I just went off, yo.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, back to what you was talking about, like, Africans coming here and experiencing xenophobia. I think I don't question your friend saying that happened to her, because I think that also plays into colorism, where people hate their African ancestry so much that they attack people that are as close to that ancestry as possible. Whereas like dark-skinned women or dark-skinned people, period, they're often seen as less attractive because they hold these African features. So it's like, it doesn't surprise me, because we all grew up with the African booty scratches. We all grew up with people saying, oh, like, she got big lips, the wide nose, people being, like, shamed because they have these African features. So it doesn't surprise me that your friend would speak on that. And to be honest, I can see in that sense where Africans that grew up in America, where they have a certain resentment towards Black Americans because they grew up constantly hearing this. They grew up constantly seeing that, like, oh, the features I have, the culture that I carry isn't good enough. So I could see why they would have some resentment or whatever. But I also do feel like, again, when you were saying, like, oh, you should correct them if you see them trying to carry out a certain culture, but they're doing it incorrectly, you should correct them. I feel like people often forget, like, slavery. They'll be like, oh, slavery was your great-grandmother, da-da-da. Yeah, but the remnants of slavery still exist. You have to remember that Black Americans, we often don't know where we come from. And it's like, yeah, we could do the Ancestry, 21andMe, 23andMe, whatever. Yeah. We can do that, but at the end of the day, it just gives you, like, a general explanation of what you possibly could be. Yeah. So it's just like, when you're here and you're searching and you're trying to find, like, oh, what could I have been? What culture could I have carried? It's like, people are going to be curious. And it's like, yes, you're African, you were born there, but understand that we are African too, because that's where our ancestors came from. This culture didn't just start with you. Right. Yeah, like, the culture didn't just start with you. You got it because it was passed on to you. We didn't have the opportunity for that culture to be passed on to us. Our ancestors, their culture was taken from them, and
they made kind of something new with it.
It was taken from them, and people made it seem like this culture is better. So we're living under a condition where it seems like these traits are terrible. And if we're in a period where we're trying to take that back, I honestly don't feel like it's your place to stop us from doing that, because this is us trying to learn our history. Like, it's not just your history. You were born there, but that's us trying to reclaim it. Like, I just feel like that's what it is. And when I hear people often say that, like, Black Americans don't have a culture.
Yeah, I hear that all the time. Like,
that be killing me.
Because I just feel like, okay, so then why are you doing all this? Okay, if Black Americans don't have a culture, then why do you do X, Y, and Z? Why do you dress like that? Why do you say certain things? Why do you eat certain foods? Like, that's all part of their history. That's all part of their culture. Yeah. You know, and it's just like, I don't know why.
Could you imagine what America today would be like if Black people were never here?
Yes, I can, actually. Because I think we will also be in Africa fighting each other. But we wouldn't be fighting. We would be fighting over different things, but we would probably be living a whole different type of, like, lifestyle.
But I just feel like it's just beyond me. Like, it's beyond me. Like, all the music that we created, like, people of the Disparia, not just Black Americans, but
Caribbean
people put in the Caribbean, people put all over the place. Yeah. It's like, we made reggae, we made hip-hop, we made soul, we made gospel, jazz, rock and roll.
You might even argue they made country too. That's another discussion, though.
Like, we made so many genres, regardless of where we was put. We, like, the fashion, hip-hop fashion, Afro-punk fashion. People call it hobo chic, but, like, soul singers been dressing like that. It's not hobo chic. It's like, there's so many different aspects of our culture. Soul food, Jamaican food. Like, how can you deny that we have a culture? And even
also, like, very, like, American foods, like ribs. I didn't know that, like, a lot of these things the slaves would eat. Like, ribs, chitlins, all these things. You know, like, these are things that slaves made poppin'. They made poppin'.
Like, soul food is the only American cuisine that this country has. Every other cuisine here is, like, pizza, Italian food. Like, what do we have? Like, hot dogs and burgers? Like, that's the only stereotypical American thing I could think of. It's like,
and that's even from somewhere.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's
Black
like
Americans really did something.
soul food is the only American cuisine that we have. Almost every popular genre of music that's in America today was created, influenced by, or pushed by Black people.
Mm-hmm.
The way you dress, the way your children dress, the way y'all talk, the slang that y'all have in some way was influenced by Black Americans. It's like, to say that we don't have a culture is almost to say that the world as it is now, like,
right.
It's just beyond
and I feel like
me.
People really just like, I hate when they do that, because I feel like in a way you're like downgrading them, and it's like you kind of saying like that they're not. When you say that they're not cultured, it's like you trying to elevate yourself in a way that like there's no elevation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Because y'all literally like, oh my gosh, y'all don't understand that y'all the same people. Y'all both eat okra. I eat it a different way than you eat it, but that shit is still good. You know what I'm trying to say? Like that's, and I feel like it's crazy to me because like I feel like my mom, whenever we would watch shit about like slavery and shit like that, I feel like she turned into a whole different person. Like 12 Years a Slave, she just be like, man, African Americans really suffered, this, that, and the third. Like, you know, like we are really a lot basically the same people, because I feel like that makes people like understand like, you know, what's going on.
But you ever watch it and then like for a good couple of days you can't be around white people?
Yeah.
I know this is gonna sound bad.
No, listen, we don't hate white people or nothing like that. It's just like, what is it? My sociology teacher called it or was it my black psychology teacher? She said it was a healthy suspicion of white people. That's what happens. We start getting a little bit more of a healthy suspicion of white people. And there's a suspicion for a reason.
You say something wrong one day, I'll be like, at the end of the day, like, you wouldn't be here. Like, I don't, like, dead. You, like, 12 Years a Slave, and then so many other movies. It's just like, all people, like, I will never deny the resilience of Black people. Mm-hmm. Like, we constantly adapt to our environment. And then just seeing that we had to adapt just because of, like, features that we can't control. Mm-hmm. Or, like, it's just like, dang, like, my people, like.
Right. And it's like, to be honest, like, I feel like, this is what I feel like. I understand why, like, no, I truly understand when it comes to, like, economics, like, why African Americans feel a type of way sometimes, because if you look at the most Black doctors, it's funny because it's like there's not really a separate category for like Africans or whatever. Like, we're all in this Black group together. So, but most Black doctors are African, and specifically Nigerian, because we have like the most, I guess, we have the country with the most Black people in the world. Mm-hmm. But and
is
after
it
that
the most
is Brazil.
populous?
Yeah, the most populous country with black people as the majority. Like, we have the most Black people.
Okay, so it's not just people; it's
specifically Black.
Yeah,
and then after that, it's Brazil, which is interesting because like Brazil's all the way on the other side of the world. But when I think about that, it just goes to show like how like Black people are really being pushed not to succeed by their society, because, you know, affirmative action, all these things taking place, civil rights, and like still most of the people that are doctors are not Black Americans that have been living here. It's usually outside international Africans, like I said, like Nigerians. Mm-hmm. And it's just it's like, yeah, I'm proud of my people, whatever. Yeah, I'm proud, whatever. But it's just like, at the end of the day, it's like there's still supposed to be more African Americans here than I think African immigrants. So it's just like the proportions.
So you're saying that in this country, most doctors in this country are African?
Black? Yeah, if they're Black, they're mostly African. I thought you were saying
African. I thought you were saying in Nigeria there's more. Dang, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was reading some article about that, and I'm just like, okay, why is this? You get what I'm trying to say? Like, that's a bad sign of like education and things like that, and that has nothing to do with you know, Black people's abilities, because Black people are great. Black people are smart. They're creative. This and third, but they are not. They're constantly like trying to like jump through hurdles that their country has given them. Mm-hmm. Like they're just coming back from all the shit that has been happening in the 60s, 70s, 80s. That's why you see a large number of Black people in college now than from, you know, just even a couple of years ago. Because now, like, I feel like we're the generation that is like kind of like coming out of everything that's been going on in like the 70s and 80s. Like black people were really pushed, like in the ghettos. Black people were redlined. Drugs being infiltrated, always being like over policed, still happening today.
Mm-hmm.
But like I feel like slowly, very slowly, like we're like black men are trying to like get back up from all that shit that like America put on them.
Mm-hmm.
And for me or other Nigerians or Africans, we didn't have to go through that. Yes, we do have our own problems, but that has to do with more so like poverty, corruption, colonialism, all that, like those types of things. And I feel like that is just a whole different type of war than what African Americans have to go through when it comes to racism.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're a minority in America, like when you're black in America, I should say, like it just becomes so much harder for you to just like persevere. And I feel like racism really does give racism and poverty and all those things gives black people like depression, and we don't talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's also what like part of what hinders people from like getting where they want to be.
You said a lot.
I did, right?
No, but it was good. I was trying to find like the bits and pieces, because I do feel like in this country we do experience like oppression from dominant groups, but I do also feel like white supremacy is like, it's not an American thing, like it's nationwide. Because as I said before, my family is Jamaican. I grew up in a Jamaican household, and I know for a fact that white supremacy has influenced them a lot when it comes to like skin bleaching, the perming of the. Not trying to say you can't perm your hair and love your people. That's not what I'm trying to say. But like, we have to understand that the perming of the hair began because people wanted to change their hair to be more professional or be deemed more beautiful and everything else. It's just that like, I know in some way the white supremacy
is definitely
has
global.
Some way touched Africans as well.
It definitely does. I feel like the main difference is that we in America experience not mostly, but we're gonna experience more overt racism, and I think that's like the in your face racism.
It's more severe with us because we are a minority group,
right?
And we're constantly interacting.
Whereas in many African countries, we're experiencing something more internalized, and it's not because we don't have lots of white people, especially in Nigeria. Like, you're not gonna see a white person that often ever, but so there's a lot less chance that you're going to experience overt racism. You're going to experience colorism and things like that comes from white supremacy, but we don't have to deal with like people calling us like the N-word, and like things that trigger us, things that happen from slavery that like trigger us. So it's just like it's a different
I did
vibe.
Read this article though. I don't know if it was Nigeria though. But this girl was actually expelled from school because of her hair.
Really?
Yeah, I need to find the video. I mean the article, but I'll probably find it and probably text it to you.
Okay.
Or whatever. But cause we hear that a lot. Like in the two girls in Florida.
Oh wait, I know exactly. They were in private school, right?
Yeah, I think she was in a private school.
Yeah.
But I don't remember where in Africa. But she was expelled from school.
Yeah, I think it was in South Africa. There's a big thing in South Africa because that's a whole different thing. South Africa is very different from the other 53 countries in Africa because they have a large population of white people compared to any other country, and they be controlling a lot of the wealth. Even though it's still majority black, they control a lot of the wealth. So they control the education system.
I think majority of the profit goes to white communities.
It does. It goes
Africa.
And yes, and you know where they go back? Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just so many things to say about that. But yes, this girl, she definitely got a school expelled or whatever, or suspended or whatever, and there was a big protest, and it was mad black young girls. They were all like 12. Like 12 years old, you on the street, you protesting just in your own country. That's what gets me tight. You in your own continent.
That fire though. I like that fire though.
Yes,
we gonna get this done.
I'm dead, but it was. I need to follow up on that story because I still don't know like what
how it resulted or ended up.
But it's just sad because like shit like that really gets me tight. How you be all the way in your own country, being black, minding your own business. White people still like, oh nah, this is unprofessional. This shit is crazy.
Wasn't a significant percentage of the administration black though?
I'm not sure about that, but I feel like the person that runs the school, like the superintendent or whatever, yeah, they're probably white, and if not, then their boss is white. You see, it always is gonna lead up to some type of white person,
Caucasian infiltrated.
And here's my thing, like coming to this school. I don't know if I should say his name, but he was a professor at the school, and we were talking about ethnicity. No. He's a cool guy.
Okay.
He's a cool guy. He's not. Don't worry, y'all. He's not no cool or nothing. But we were talking about ethnicity, and like it was like towards the end, like they were having a conversation about South Africans and how he doesn't believe that white South Africans are South African. Like you're European living in South Africa, basically, because he feels that it's wrong for them to claim that ethnicity.
I low-key agree.
Because okay, yes, we get it. You might have been born here, but guess what? Your grandfather probably wasn't. They definitely came from Europe. You're definitely probably Dutch because that's where most of them came from, and you don't have the same culture as the natives. You're not like you know what I'm trying to say. Like I don't know. I feel like white Africans living in Africa, you're definitely not African. This let me just say this because I'm not trying to hate on you or whatever. I'm not trying to say
it's not hate, it's honesty. I feel like every time a black person goes in a predominantly white space, we always have to have the hyphenation. Like, we're not just Americans, we're black Americans, we're African Americans.
You need the hyphenation.
Like, so it's just South like, African. It's constantly reminding us that this isn't where we're from. So it's only right.
It's only right, exactly.
Because at the end of the day, if we have to constantly... And black Americans here, like a lot of the culture here was influenced by black Americans. So it's just we influenced a lot of the culture, but we still need the hyphenation. Now you infiltrating in a community that wasn't influenced by you at all. So why can't you have the hyphenation?
Y'all like, need the hyphenation. Y'all are white South Africans. Let's just be clear on that. And the second thing, I saw somebody post some shit on Twitter or some shit, and it was like. Because somebody was like, tell me what's on your mind or whatever. And somebody was like, I'll never understand why white people hate black people in South Africa but won't leave. Like, y'all really hate us and y'all won't leave.
Oh, that's really a thing? Like a significant, like, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. But I'm saying, like, do white people, like, push efforts to, like, marginalize the people? I don't understand how you a minority marginalize. Like,
it's just, like, I don't understand. Like, what I don't, it's just, like,
do you tell everybody just up and leave? Like,
but you came here. Like, y'all need to leave. See, that's the thing. White people, y'all hate us. All y'all want is our resources and our culture. But guess what, honey? Y'all need to find that in Europe somewhere. And a lot of people were upset when people talk about, oh, well, white South Africans need to leave. They're like, oh, but their parent was born here and now their child was born. Well, listen, I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. I'm about to go Trump on this shit. Y'all need to get
build a wall stuff.
Nah, y'all really need to. Okay, listen. I'm not trying to be like, y'all can't, like, it's just, y'all need to, I'm sorry.
Chill.
I'm sorry, but I feel like honestly, like if you really talk to a black South African and really understand what they're going through because of your parents, because of your grandparents, because of you, like you know what I'm trying to say, like you contribute to like their oppression, their constant oppression. They're in their own country being called like I think it's Khalifa or something like that. It's basically equivalent to the N-word. And it's like, you're in their country. You need to leave. Like, you can't be doing that shit. Like, Americans love being like, this is my country. Well, we gonna have to be like, this is my country. Like, y'all need to go.
I do, like, I hate when it's on the tip of my tongue and then it goes away.
This is low-key about to be 2 hours. Is this
Oh
what I
well, oh well. Listen to this when you're in the shower, when you're cleaning. Multitask, like, cause we're not having a video to it, right? It's just
No,
it's just gonna be us
podcast.
talking or whatever.
Yeah.
So like, listen to it when you're doing what you're doing or whatever. But back to what she was saying about people like outsiders coming in. I feel like a lot of people are gonna say like, why do people have an issue with other people experiencing different cultures, and why do people not want to share what they do? See,
Listen,
this is the thing.
Y'all didn't share. Y'all took.
See, but that's the thing. Like, there is absolutely nothing wrong with people like sharing and borrowing from other cultures. Cultural appropriation is different from appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like when white people go in communities where they're the majority, instead of trying to like assimilate into that culture, they often try to force the people in that culture to assimilate to them. Like, they're not saying like, oh, this is theirs,
Exactly.
and we're just enjoying it. It's like, no, they find a way to like take it over and make it seems as though it originated with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone, oh my goodness, you know how I told you I like arguing on Instagram. Somebody was telling me that like, oh no, it was YouTube, because I be arguing on YouTube too.
I'm dead.
But somebody was like, they was talking about how what hip hop means to black people and how it started about. And this guy said, no, hip hop was created by a white person because it's an English language, and English came from Europe. I'm like,
that sounds like a troll.
So if this started with y'all, how come y'all ain't do it? How come the pioneers of hip hop aren't y'all? Y'all only got Eminem. Like, which other white rapper?
Y'all really only got Eminem.
No, but which other rapper is like people really messing with?
But the
like
thing
white
is, like,
rapper.
what really was the history? It started in the Bronx. Like, let's and who lives in the Bronx? Black people. And it's like MCs and DJs starting that shit. Like, I hate when I'm sorry, I'm moving kind of far. I hate when people do that, and it's like that kind of shit reminds me of when I was younger, and I used to think, like, I was trying to learn more about Nigeria and my culture, so I would like look up shit like, oh, like, certain like random facts or whatever, and then I'm seeing like, oh, our national language is English, and I'm like, wait, hold up.
That's a world language, actually.
Yes.
So everybody, regardless of where they're from, they have to learn English, and it's like why we
hold on, we gonna have to change that in a couple of years, because I'm not like, I feel like I don't feel comfortably with that, but I understand that it comes from colonialism, because Nigeria wasn't even a country made by like the tribes in Africa. Like, that was made by British people. That's why all these countries sound the same. Nigeria, Algeria, they don't have no fucking creativity. The Europeans, they don't have creativity. That's why all these countries sound the same.
That's true. All of them was. I heard
not all of them, but like certain parts of West Africa, like, they were created by British people.
Cause I heard like I was reading and somebody said the name Africa was taken on was
from a European
person. That really hurts my chest.
Mm-hmm. It's a divide or something like that. Yeah. But that's why a lot of people, they, instead of putting Africa with a C, they put Africa with a K, because then it becomes a whole different meaning, and it has to do with something about uniting. So I'm just like, oh, okay, that's a little cute thing, I guess. I didn't really understand that at first, like why people would put Africa with a K, but like now I get it.
It just makes me wonder, like, what it was before.
I mean, it wasn't nothing. That's the thing. It was a whole big-ass continent. It's the biggest landmass on the earth. It's not the biggest continent that's fucking Asia.
I thought Russia was the... Is that... No, Russia's a country.
Russia's a country.
So it's the largest country by landmass. But you're saying Africa is the
largest, like... Not the largest continent. I think that's Asia. But it's the largest landmass. Because it's like, there's nothing dividing us within like these African countries. We just have a bunch of borders. But that's the thing. That's why I hate like people when people like other people talk about Africa like, oh, why aren't you all united, this and that. It's because we were never united. That's the thing. We were all just different kingdoms, different tribes, just living on that one continent.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that, like, not all Africans are like dark skinned. There's people that literally almost look white that like are native to Africa, and they're called something that starts with an A, but they mostly reside in the north. That's why you see a lot of North Africans, they can check off white on the census because they look kind of white. But when they get to Europe, they call it the N-word and shit like that. So,
but you see, that's also interesting to me because I feel like when you look at Egyptians, like on the census, they are considered white.
shit. Yeah,
But
they are.
I feel like a lot what people don't understand is that a lot of them have the appearance they have because of race mixing.
Yeah,
like you have to understand
Alexander.
Like you have to understand how many times outside countries have tried to have invaded those regions.
Yeah.
So it's like the way you look isn't an exact replica of what the people that originated there looked like.
Yeah, they were definitely black. Okay.
And it's like y'all can't explain the hieroglyphics. Like, why are there people that's like 10 shades darker than you? I'm exaggerating. Why?
No, but they were very,
Yeah.
like they were, like, if you look at this shit, like, people from Sudan, a lot of them have Egyptian, fucking, what is it called?
Heritage?
Yes, and it's just like, it makes sense because they're literally right there in Nubia and all those, and that's what they look like. They look like these very, very dark people. Not everybody in Sudan is...
What's her name? Nikita. From Jamie and Nikki.
Yeah,
Jamie
Nikita and fucking Zuki, right?
Yeah, Nikki and Ducky.
Yeah, but they're, oh my god, they are beautiful. They're...
She walking in the Victoria's Secret show, if y'all ain't know.
Shout out to Zuki doing the thing for dark-skinned women.
But yeah.
And you know, I found out that, like, my tribe, like Yoruba tribe, they have ancestry from Sudan.
Mm.
And then, so I'm just like, okay, so low-key, am I Egyptian? Like the original? Am I one of the originals?
I don't know where I'm from, but I feel like I'm from Ghana.
Ooh, you know a lot of Jamaicans are from Ghana.
For real? Don't tell me that.
Ghana and Nigeria.
Don't tell me that, because I really want to take the 23. We can do a video on that. I want to do the 23.
Yes.
They sell it at my job. So I could probably get a little, I could probably get me a little discount or whatever.
Okay.
But I really feel like I'm from Ghana.
Yo, imagine I have like white in me, bruh. No. That means somebody must have raped one of my...
See, me, I feel like obviously
grandmothers.
I'm a child of the Desperia. I'm going to have a percentage of white. But I feel like for the most part, in my hearts of hearts, I know that I'm African. And I feel like as dark as I am, like people was commenting, they was like, everybody's mixed. They were like, all black Americans are mixed, da-da-da. But I just feel like I would never consider myself mixed because clearly I'm more African than anything else. Like, I could see if I was like light bright. Obviously, I'm mixed. I have European heritage. But as dark as I am, I feel like it's clear that I'm more African than anything else. So I wouldn't consider myself mixed. Like, if I'm like 80% African, why would I ever consider myself mixed? Like,
I feel like the term mixed, I feel like a lot of the time we reserve it for people that have clear indications of being biracial or multiracial based on like their parents and grandparents and their great grandparents. Like, but yes, I understand that all African Americans do have white in them, but they will not, like you said, a lot of the time identify as mixed because of, you know, their complexion and also because maybe their parents and their grandparents clearly, you know, identify as black a lot of the time. But honestly, yeah, most people do have, if you're born here, if your parents are born here, if your grandparents are born here, you probably have, 90% of the chance you have white in you.
My mother was born in Jamaica, and I think her mother was born in Jamaica, but I don't think my mother's mother was born in Jamaica.
Oh, really?
Like, as I said to you, my mother is way lighter than me.
My mom too, y'all.
And when I grew up, she always told me she was biracial.
Really?
Yeah, she always told me she was biracial because my grandmother looks like a white woman.
Oh, that makes sense.
But she had curly, like, she had wavy hair, but when she got older, I saw her cut it and it looked kind of curly.
Kinky?
It did not look kinky.
Okay.
So, I think from my mother's side, it might be a little something. But my father is extremely dark-skinned.
And his family too.
Yeah, so I feel like either way, I'm more black than anything.
Yeah.
And because I think my mother's father, obviously, he was black. He was dark-skinned.
Yeah.
So either way, I just feel like
you claim whatever,
I just feel
makes
like
you
I'm
out.
more black than anything. I feel like the others, those don't count.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, without those people or my grandmother,
Mhm.
who I appreciate, I wouldn't be here. But I still feel like I'm more black than everything. I go through the black experience. I grew up in black culture, both American and Jamaican culture. So it's just
Mhm. I understand that. And there's some people that are light skinned that are black that really hate being identified as mixed because
no,
they
I get
don't know.
it. I
One,
get
they don't
it.
know, and they're just like, no, I'm black. Like, that's it. Like, period. Like, nothing else.
I get it though because in my head I never automatically considered being light skinned mixed.
Right.
Like, cause I just feel like there's so many light skinned people in our community that have both black parents.
Yes.
And then I read this thing. Yeah, I never been on a plane. I barely ever left New York. I'm a New Yorker. But I read that there's this tribe in Africa where they're all light skinned.
Yes.
But they're native to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I have to find the article though, because I don't know where in Africa.
A lot of people like that are from, like, is it Cape Verde? I don't know if it's Cape Verde, but there's mad people that are like that. Like, let's say in Nigeria, for example, like a lot of Igbo people, the stereotype is that they're light skinned. There are dark skinned Igbo people out there. I'm not saying y'all all light skinned, but generally, the stereotype is that Yoruba people are like the dark skinned Nigerians, and that Igbo people are usually lighter skin.
Oh, I have class in 15 minutes.
Okay, let's wrap this up. But what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say.
You saying like the Yoruba is light skin, and
oh,
the
no,
other one's considered dark skin of the.
Yeah, so Yorubas are usually dark skin.
Mm-hmm. Yoruba.
Stereotypically, but there's Native African people that are light skin. Like, that's just. Mm-hmm. It's not like there's a big gradient in Africa of light skin, dark skin, brown skin, whatever. Mm-hmm. So just because you're light skin, don't necessarily mean you're mixed.
Like someone's beyond, even though Beyonce identifies as a mixed person. Mm-hmm. Like now she's saying black people, she doing her thing, which I respect. Mm-hmm. But before she was like saying she's mixed because she was saying she's French and she has Creole. Yeah, she's Creole. Even though there's a lot of dark skinned Creole people, like black Creole people, or whatever. But I'm gonna mind my business because her mother looks like a whole black woman to me. But I'm gonna mind my business.
But what's his name thought she was a white woman. Who? The father.
Yeah.
I was just like, boy.
There's a lot of in that situation.
Because she looks like a regular black woman.
She looked black to me. Mm-hmm. Beyonce looked black to me. But light skin like Beyonce, I wouldn't automatically consider them mixed. Even though you can be that complexion and be mixed, I wouldn't automatically assume that the person is of mixed heritage. But say if you look like if you was extremely, I'm trying to think of somebody that's extremely light skinned. Like Logic. He couldn't convince me that he wasn't mixed.
Logic is not just light. He is white passing. Yeah. Okay, that's a whole
like he could not convince me that
I thought he was white.
Yeah, but his father's a light skinned black man. Mm-hmm. So like you could not convince me that you black. And I'm gonna look at you sideways for saying nigga too. Like
what? I don't care because he's definitely biracial.
Okay, but I don't care. You can't say nigga because you go through this world as a white man. I'm uncomfortable. I am uncomfortable. Like even like Drake saying nigga, maybe I let it slide because he clearly got a little black in him.
He's biracial.
Even him, like you was raised by a white woman. Like sometimes I look at them a little. I'm not gonna. I be looking at them like.
To me, I still feel like biracial people are still black, but I feel like it's very important to like identify like your privilege. Because if you could be biracial. Biracial doesn't mean you're gonna come out light skinned. But if you're white passing, bro, you go through a whole nother world.
I feel like there's a difference between Logic saying nigga and J. Cole saying nigga.
I'm dead.
I look at J. Cole, I see a black man. I feel like he experiences what we experience. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me Logic is not out here living like a Caucasian.
Listen, he looked white. I'm telling you. You know what? He looked like maybe he could be Puerto Rican. Like, that's why I just thought, oh, but really, I thought it was just some white dude, rapping. But then when I saw his father, I'm like, oh, this is clearly a biracial child. But
you know who else says nigga, and it kind of hurts my chest because they're dope as hell.
Who?
When Kalani say nigga, it be hurting my chest.
Oh, Kalani.
It really be hurting. But she is an amazing artist. But every time she say nigga, I gotta change the song.
Chill.
It makes me uncomfortable.
Okay, so then how do you feel about what's his name? Because Justin says nigga.
Who?
Justin from YouTube.
Him, when he say nigga too, I be changing the channel. It makes
how you
me
gonna change the channel on YouTube, y'all?
I switched from his channel to another channel.
Like, he had a video on that.
Yeah, but the thing about Justin that makes him different, I think he considers himself Afro-Latino. Because he did a video where he says, I'm not black enough. Like, it's titled, I'm not black enough or something like that. Like, I still wouldn't consider him a whole black man out here. But I know light-skinned black people that look like, that has his same complexion with two black parents. That's why I'm like, I'm going to mind my business.
And that's the thing, like, you could have two dark-skinned parents, you be light-skinned, because that's just within black genes. Like, you don't have to be. And you could have two light-skinned parents have a dark-ass baby.
Like I never met a black American family where they're all the same color.
Yeah, it's always somebody that's light as fuck, somebody that's dark middle. Like, it's just, flavors, as they should. Caramel, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of hazelnut, a little bit of macchiato, creme brulee. Like,
I'm dead.
I like that.
We gotta, are we posting this today?
Oh, we could post
because it's already unedited. Like, we're not editing it. But thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank y'all for listening. It wasn't a watch, but it was a listen.
Yeah, thank y'all for listening for however long. I think she said it was almost 2 hours.
Girl, it's 2 hours.
Again, my name, I go by Ian. My YouTube channel is Youngblood and Misguided. You can find me on Instagram at _ybm.unruly.mess_, and my blog is my blog is ybmunrulymess.weebly.com. Check me out. I put my poetry, music, short stories, all of that on it. But I will be adding more soon.
And like I said, Dam Love 1053. That's DAMLOVE 1053 on Instagram and on Twitter. And my YouTube is Dear Dami. Still under construction, but please, subscribe, tune in. Well, you don't have to subscribe right now because what's this to subscribe to? But please,
subscribe for later.
And please, tell us, what y'all thought about the conversation. If you have any questions or any topics y'all want us to talk about, please let us know so we can discuss it and we can shout y'all out too. And thank you. So,
we're good with criticism as long as it's constructive.
You do not have to agree with us. Please, if you have a different opinion, I highly encourage you to tell us about it so we can all talk about it. So we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for listening. If you listen for this long, thank you. All right.
Bye.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop this.